Hi everyone, I wanted to do a quick share of the measurements I used to create this book. This book was inspired by Adriana Alvarez. It is also inspired by the mini albums that Paige Taylor Evans creates and the mini albums that Bambi's Mail creates. Her name is Amber Mitchell. She's Bambi's Mail here on Instagram. And so anyway, I just wanted to share with you, there isn't a tutorial. I just grabbed bits and pieces of some of the crafters that I enjoy and that inspire me, and I added them into this book. So you'll see little sprinkles of all of them in this book. But anyway, I wanted to share with you the measurements I used to create it. The measurements are going to be kind of funky because, like I said, I eyeballed it, and then after I created it, I went back and I measured everything to kind of give you a base of the measurements. So what this book has is it's a 5x8 book. It has these straps for closures. It has a 1-inch spine, and then it has this box envelope in the back to hold things. And then on the inside, we're gonna create this little folder pocket and these two little box pockets right here. So what I did is, for the base, I took a 12x12 piece of paper. I cut it down to 11x8. So I cut the 12x12 to an 11x8. I scored it at 5 and at 6 to give it that 1-inch spine. So I used the We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard, and so again, I scored it at 5 and at 6 to give it that 1-inch spine. So then when you close it, that's what gives you the 5x8 size. Now, when you're creating the base, you want to use something sturdy. You don't want to use a flimsy piece of paper. So I wanted to use the paper collection Truly Grateful, and so I used that as my base for my book. But then when I went into, I decided to mat the book. So when I matted the book, what I did is I cut, so this is 5x8, and so my mat is just like a 1/4 inch thinner because it's just going to give it that little border all the way around. So my mat is 4 7/8 by 7 7/8. And so, like I said, what that does is that just creates a little border all the way around the book. And so underneath this, I added a piece of chipboard. I used the cover from the paper pad, and I layered that under here just to add some chipboard and to make it a little sturdier. And so I did that to the front and to the back. I didn't do it to the spine, and I wish I had, because I know that that would have added more structure to the book. So like I said, I used that piece of chipboard to add some structure and to just make it more sturdy. So this mat, I decided to mat the whole book. So I used this size to mat the front cover, the back cover, and the inside of the book. So I used it here and I used it here. And then to mat this spine, I used a 7/8 by 7 7/8 piece of paper. And so that just goes in here. And you'll also need that for the outside spine. I hope that is making sense, and if you have any questions, please message me and I will gladly answer your questions. Like I said, I've never really done a tutorial, so I hope that this helps rather than, you know, confuse you even more, but hopefully this will help. And so that is going to be, like I said, the book base, and then mats for the front cover and the back cover inside and out, and then a mat for the spine inside and out. That covers that. And then for the straps, I use 2 pieces of paper. So as you can see here, this strap has 2 pieces of paper. It has the base and then it has the top, and that just gives it just a little pop of color and just kind of gives it a nice finishing touch. I think that's cute. So what I did is, from the paper that I cut from the bottom of this, I used that and I got a 1-inch strip. So this is 1-inch strip, and it was basically like this. So it gave me a whole 1-inch strip, and then I just cut it in half since I needed to. So these are 1 inch wide by 6 inches long. No rhyme or reason to that measurement. It's simply that I used the bottom piece that I cut off of this paper, and that's what I came up with. So that's going to be for your strap here. And then for that top layer, I just went down 1/4 inch. So this is 5 7/8 long by 7/8 wide. And that's going to go on your on top of that strap right there. And I lined it up all the way to the bottom, because this part you are not going to, it's not going to be visible. The only thing you're going to be seeing is this part right here. This will be what you use to attach it to the book, and it will be covered up. So this is the only part you're going to see. And so that's how I created this strap right here. For the top part, I just cut a thin piece of paper. I left some room to score it, and use that little square that I scored, to use that little square to attach it to the book, like that. I also used 2 layers on this strap that goes across for the closure. And what I did was, again, I didn't measure. I just simply glued this down on a piece of gold paper, and then I cut around and left a little border. Nothing difficult, just very simple. I just glued it, made sure to leave a border on all 4 sides, and that's how I came up with that right there. And because it's just a little piece that peeps through, you can't really tell that they're not matching, that there isn't a real measurement to that. So I glued those pieces. I glued this all together and then glued it to the back of the book, leaving room to stick it through the front, right? And then, so that covers the straps. On the inside of the book, to create the pocket, so your book is going to be matted. Then to create this little folder, I used a 4 1/4 by 7 5/8 piece of paper. And then I just glued it on 2 sides. So if you just glue it on this side and on the bottom side, that's going to make that pocket that you're going to be able to stick something in right there. That's for that pocket. And then on this side, I created those 2 little boxes to hold the Memorydex cards. And for that, I used a 6.5 wide by 4.5 piece of paper. And then I scored that at half and at 1 on 3 sides. So then I turned it this way, scored it at half and at 1, and then turned it one more time, half and at 1, and that creates that little box. So you'll glue these together and then add that to your book to create the 2 boxes. Now, mine were so big, and like I said, I eyeballed it. So I absolutely needed a little opening right here so that the recipient could dig in and get whatever was in there out. So what I did is I used a die to create this little box right here. But you can use a punch, you can leave it as is, you can just cut it out with scissors. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But I went ahead and used a circle die and just placed it on the paper. Of course, you don't place the whole circle. I just placed a piece of it on the paper, and it cut out that little opening. And then because I made the square or the box like this, it doesn't have a backing. So I just cut a piece of paper and slid it in there, and that's what creates this back right here. I don't know if you can see, it doesn't even go all the way down. But yeah, when you're looking at it like this, you can see that it has a little back right there. Right there. So that's how I did those pockets and that pocket folder. Really simple. I hope this is making sense for you. It really was very simple and very easy to construct. It's just, I didn't have any measurements. I just, like I said, eyeballed it. And then for the back, for this envelope right here, I used my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and I used the 4x7 box card, and that's what I used to create the back piece. And then I just stuck that on there, and that was it. The book was done. I mean, all that's left is to decorate it. I did some stitching around all the panels. But yeah, guys, it was that easy. And so I hope that this helps you. And like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. I will gladly answer any questions you have. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.